and Candido convinces Rude to leave, but not before saying, "Fuck you, Gordon," whilst giving Gordon the finger. Todd Gordon kind of makes me think of Tony Khan in 5 years. Like, he was standing up to Rick Rude and his voice even cracked. It's kind of weird.
It sure did.
Years ago, in the same building, Flash Funk and Dean Malenko broke Taz's neck with a spike piledriver. And it's ironic because Taz's finishing move is the Kata Hajime, which is a choke that works on the neck.
There you go. You got it this time.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing how the Insane Clown Posse have been in every major promotion.
They even have their own promotion now. And apparently Vince Russo is the booker.
Scott Hall wrestled
In their promotion?
Yeah, I don't know if he was sober when he did it.
Probably
Spike Dudley has to be helped to the back while some nurse applies pressure to his head wound. And then some guy gets to mop up the blood after.
And this is the Spike Dudley that I know. My first time seeing Spike Dudley was against Mike Awesome, which essentially went the same way this did.
This match will be contested by Monday Night Wrestling rules. Come to think of it, yeah, there were no wrestling rules. They were any different than EC.
Well, ECW doesn't have rules.
But neither did this match.
Well, it was supposed to. It was definitely supposed to, yeah, but they forgot
Sandman
about
was
that.
brutally beaten, and he's currently being rushed to the hospital in the back of the ambulance. So the news guy in the helicopter says, hopefully Sandman finds his way back to the arena, which makes no fucking sense. And then I'll be goddamned. Sandman ends up hijacking the ambulance and trying to find his way back to the arena. It's like the helicopter guy's a clairvoyant.
Yes, from 30,000 feet in the air, he was able to see that Sandman has taken over the ambulance.
Well, this week is ECW Hardcore Heaven 1997. We're in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We open with Joey Styles in the ring, and he welcomes us to the show, of course. Then Styles says, tonight we will see 3 men in the ring at the same time, and they're all vying for the ECW World Heavyweight title. Those men are the franchise Shane Douglas, hardcore legend Terry Funk, and they will both challenge new ECW champion Sabu. Also, the clown prince of the World Wrestling Federation, Jerry the King Lawler, Styles' words, not mine, will be taking on Tommy Dreamer. Well, Styles starts to say that, but he's cut off before, he officially says who Lawler's wrestling. It's Ravishing Rick Rude coming out, and the crowd chants at Rick Rude that he sold out. Styles says that he's like, look, your back's broken, you can't wrestle anymore, but everybody in this building knows that you can still kick my ass. I could hit you with my best punch, and it wouldn't even faze you. You'd just snap my neck with a rude awakening and go about your day like nothing happened. But I have to tell you that you turned your back on ECW at Heatwave 97. And more recently, you hired yourself out to some male boy toy dancer for another organization. He says, you can do what you want, but I'll have no part of this interview. So he hands Rude the mic, and then Rude says, fuck what you think, Styles. Then he brings out Chris Candido, whom Rude has apparently taken under his wing. And Candido comes out looking just as boring as the last pay-per-view we saw him on. And ECW Commissioner Todd Gordon is in the ring for some reason with fat guys. I guess they're security. Oh, no, they were the referees. Those are referee shirts. Gordon tells Rude that he threw away a 2-year ECW contract just to be a gun for hire. Rude's not a licensed manager, and therefore he has the count of 10 or the match will be forfeit. So I guess Candido's wrestling somebody. Rude tells Gordon he's jerking his chain. Then Gordon starts counting. And Candido convinces Rude to leave, but not before saying, fuck you, Gordon, whilst giving Gordon the finger. Todd Gordon kind of makes me think of Tony Khan in 5 years. Like, he was standing up to Rick Rude and his voice even cracked. It's kind of weird.
It sure did.
So the show starts and we get Chris Candido versus Taz. This is for the ECW World Television Championship. And Taz is still a badass, apparently. Also a judo master. So that's cool. I also like in his theme song, he says, I don't need a weapon. My hands are my weapons.
I didn't hear the theme songs, unfortunately.
It was at the end. It was really fucking corny. I loved it. So the bell rings and Candido's ready to go, but Taz just stands still in the corner with his arms folded, right? So Candido gets in Taz's face and pushes him. He even slaps the suplex machine. And Taz just stays at his post. Kind of actually starting to look silly because, like, you're getting slapped and you're not doing anything. Then Candido spits on Taz and the arms finally come down. Candido hits a couple clotheslines, then tries to leapfrog Taz, and Taz just stops and kicks Candido right in the balls while he's in the air. Then they do some mat wrestling. Taz gets Candido in a Juji Katani, or an armbar if you're not a pretentious douchebag.
I also thought that wasn't whatever.
The
Because
Juji
he did a
Katani?
yeah. I thought that was when your back is on their back and you're pulling up that way, but he was doing it with his legs in the front, so I didn't think that was a.
I think Styles was just finding excuses to use those words.
Well, that's a pretty common one in wrestling, but I thought it was a different.
Well, Candido all of a sudden hits Taz with a power bomb. This fucks Taz up because 2 years ago in the same building, Flash Funk and Dean Malenko broke Taz's neck with a spike pile driver. And it's ironic because Taz's finishing move is the Kata Hajime, which is a choke that works on the neck.
There you go. You got it this time.
Yeah. Candido actually starts kicking Taz's ass for quite a while and then hits Taz with a top rope Frankensteiner and a diving headbutt, only to get a 2 count. Taz starts to fight back and gets hit with another power bomb. And then Candido goes for his finishing move. Taz blocks it, hits a top rope belly to belly's Tazplex, and then takes Candido to Suplex City. He just starts throwing him around. And then Candido starts clutching his neck. And then we learn Candido broke his neck a year ago. And I'm like, what's with these motherfuckers breaking their necks?
I was like, man, ECW is a freaking dangerous place to work.
No
Everybody
shit.
gets their neck broken. Like they need to do training or something there.
Candido then hits Taz with a power slam out of nowhere, sets Taz up on the top rope, turns his back and signals that the match is finally over. Taz recovers, and he finally locks in the Kata Hajime! And then Candido taps out, of course. They played up Taz being a super badass, so I didn't like how much offense Candido got. Like, I like my badasses to be badasses. I don't want this fucking wishy-washy shit.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was going to be a squash, especially at the beginning when Taz was just standing there with his arms crossed, and then he gets spit on. That starts the offense, but it's only Candido getting clotheslines on him. He's getting clothesline, and then that third one, he didn't get back up. I thought he was, going to get spit on. That was going to like ignite him. He's just going to do the suplexes, the Kamehameha, and then call it a night. But no, it was competitive. Maybe we missed something, but it seems like they've already moved past the whole Taz getting betrayed thing. Seems to not have been a big deal on tonight's show.
Yeah, it seems like we missed a couple not pay-per-views, but shows.
So I guess they settled it on TV.
Yeah, looks like everybody came out okay. Well, it cuts to a video of the Insane Clown Posse in the ring. It's pretty amazing how the Insane Clown Posse have been in every major promotion.
They even have their own promotion now. And apparently Vince Russo is the booker.
There you go. Finally. Scott Hall wrestled.
In their promotion?
Yeah, I don't know if he was sober when he did it.
Probably not.
Rob Van Dam arrives and ICP announce it. And then Van Dam kicks the shit out of the Insane Clown Posse while Bill Alfonso blows his goddamn whistle. I noticed the whistle this time. I don't know how you couldn't.
Oh, boy.
Sabu comes to the ring just to get in on the ass beating. And then Van Dam holds Shaggy 2-Dope in a camel clutch. Bill Alfonso, still blowing the whistle, holds up a chair to Shaggy's face. Sabu runs, does a springboard something into the chair. Violent J gets off easy with just a double suplex.
Yeah.
So again, the idea here was to buy live ECW tickets, I guess. So we cut back to the ring. The guy says we're about to watch a special revenge match. So we get Spike Dudley versus Bam Bam Bigelow. And I guess Spike recently beat Bam Bam in an upset of the century. So Bam Bam wants his revenge. So the bell rings and Spike goes after Bam Bam. And then Bam Bam just starts tossing Spike around like a rag doll. Spike starts to fire back a little bit. Bam Bam hits a monster powerbomb. Like he basically stands him up on his shoulders, slams him to the mat. Bam Bam picks Spike up like a child, then drops him straight onto the steel ring post, and then drags Spike back into the ring, picks him up again, and this time throws him straight into the crowd. Spike is now a bloody mess, and Bam 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 decides to do a cartwheel, and then Bam Bam drags Spike into the ring again, hits a monster pile driver, then his ugly ass moonsault, and Bam Bam gets his revenge. Spike Dudley has to be helped to the back while some nurse applies pressure to his head wound. And then some guy gets to mop up the blood after.
And this is the Spike Dudley that I know, not upsetting Bam Bam.
That's a proper big man versus little man.
Well, my first time seeing Spike Dudley was against Mike Awesome, which essentially went the same way this did. But yeah, that's how it should be going with Spike. Now, his name is Dudley, but apparently he's not a part of the Dudley crew yet, or not on TV at least. So that's there.
Well, then we see the thrilling conclusion of the Insane Clown Posse attack and the beginning of the saga of the Sandman.
Riveting television is coming up with that.
Yes, sir. So Sandman comes to the rescue with his Singapore cane and doesn't hit a single person. Sandman ends up getting fucked up, and the only help he ended up providing ICP was that Sabu and RVD were too preoccupied kicking his ass to worry about the clowns. Later, we see Sandman taken away in an ambulance, and yeah, looks bad. Well, then we get Mr. Monday Night Rob Van Dam versus Al Snow in a special attraction match. This match will be contested by Monday Night Wrestling rules, which, come to think of it, I don't understand how. Yeah, there were no wrestling rules. They were any different than EC. Yeah.
Well, ECW doesn't have rules,
but neither did this match.
Well, it was supposed to. It was definitely supposed to, yeah, but they forgot about that.
Okay. Well, RVD comes out with tights that have both ECW and WWF on them. The bell rings and Snow immediately goes after Alfonso and his fucking whistle, which he would have been the hero of the night if he succeeded. RVD tells Snow that he's the one who Snow should be worried about, and he karates the shit out of him. And Snow hits a snowplex, spills to the floor. RVD misses a moonsault. And then Snow stands RVD up on the apron and then walks all the way up the entrance ramp. Then he comes running full speed and hits him with a clothesline. And at one point, Bill Alfonso jumps in the ring, still blowing the whistle while Snow and RVD are fighting on the floor. And RVD does a springboard moonsault off the guardrail. He and Snow get back in the ring. RVD goes for a top rope something, but Snow cuts him off and hits an awesome superplex. Then he tries another superplex, but RVD says, fuck you, blocks it, and hits a karate kick from the top rope. RVD hits a standing moonsault. Snow kicks out. So RVD hits a 5-star frog splash. Snow kicks out of that too. RVD goes for a Frankensteiner. Snow turns it into a face buster. So then Snow hits a standing moonsault, the very same standing moonsault that RVD uses, and he starts talking shit. And then he hits his snowplow, which RVD kicks out of. Then it spills to the floor again. Snow starts fucking RVD up with a chair. And he tries that running clothesline from the top of the ramp again, but RVD throws the chair in his face. And then RVD crotches Snow on the guardrail, has Alfonso hold the chair in Snow's face, like he did with Shaggy 2 Dope. RVD climbed up on the other segment of the guardrail and did a jumping kick. They get back to the ring again. RVD hits a leg drop. Snow hits his DDT. Alfonso tosses a chair to RVD from the floor. RVD then tosses the chair to Snow, who catches it. RVD wins with a Van Daminator. It's a good match. I was surprised that, we'll find out later with the Lawler thing, but the WWF guys weren't jokes.
Yeah. They were the big wigs coming in.
Like, Snow still lost, but he could have won easily. And this is peak Van Dam.
Still not winning with that frog splash.
Yeah, that is weird to see. So it cuts to Joey Styles. Remember earlier we saw Sandman being taken away in the ambulance? Well, Styles receives word that a helicopter is chasing the ambulance. And it turns out that it's the ECW's Extreme Chopper. It's convenient. The Sandman was brutally beaten, and he's currently being rushed to the hospital in the back of the ambulance. So the news guy in the helicopter says, hopefully Sandman finds his way back to the arena, which makes no fucking sense. Also, he said some shit about Sandman being lost. And then I'll be goddamned. Sandman ends up hijacking the ambulance and trying to find his way back to the arena. It's like the helicopter guy's a clairvoyant.
Yes, from 30,000 feet in the air, he was able to see that Sandman has taken over the ambulance.
So yeah, that's interesting. Sandman was beaten to a bloody pulp, taken away in an ambulance, has awoken in the back of the ambulance. I'm assuming he knocked out the driver and the other paramedic.
Probably with the Singapore cane.
Probably.
I don't know how he was able to swing it in that confined space, but he found a way.
Well, I don't know why they brought it with him.
Well, he's like, grab my cane.
Well, then we get a Jerry the King Lawler promo. The King says he was talking to Vince McMahon, and Vince was scared for Lawler because he's going into the Lion's Den all alone. The King says he's not all alone. All of the superstars of the World Wrestling Federation are going to be with him in spirit. And King says that The Undertaker and Bret Hart both asked him to beat Tommy Dreamer with their finishing moves. And Stone Cold Steve Austin called him to personally give him permission to open up the biggest can of whoop ass. So basically, Tommy Dreamer's going to get it.
Yep.
We go back to the ring. The Dudley boys are standing in the ring with Jenna Jameson. Obviously, the crowd wants to see her tits. Also in the ring is Joel Squeeze My Lemon Until the Juice Runs Down My Leg Gertner, who officially introduces Jenna, then refers to himself as Studley Dudley. And he later says that Jenna will be screaming that, and she laughs, rightly so. Sign Guy Dudley is in the group still somehow. And next is the man with the 25-inch arms and the 14-inch wrists, Big Dick Dudley, the true mastodon of wrestling. Gertner then calls the referee bald. This pisses the ref off, and then the Dudleys have to step in the way. They had to prevent the ref from fucking up Gertner. And then the Dudleys are finally introduced, and I noticed the Devon was not specifically targeted this time.
It was not.
And they were in the South.
Yeah.
The Dudley Boys are announced as the 3-time tag champions. They're rated XXX, which means they need a tag team opposition that's PG-13, which leads us to the Dudley Boys versus PG-13. This is a team consisting of Jamie Dundee, who is the son of Bill Dundee. I think Memphis Wrestling. Him and Lawler were rivals. His partner is Wolfie D, who was just there. So it sounds like they came out to some bootleg Too Cool theme music. At least that's the vibe I got. Jamie Dundee gets on the mic, and he says he just has to let the Dudleys know what he thinks of them. And he mentions how much diversity is in the actual Dudley family, and he can only conclude that Mama Dudley is a hoe. Dundee also tells Bubba that he's so fat that if he told him to haul ass, Bubba would need to make 2 trips. Got him. Dundee then agrees that Big Dick Dudley is a big dick and says Joel Gertner looks like Elvis right before he died. And then Dundee says Gertner's so ugly, it looks like he went to a pillow fight and the other guy brought a stick with him. Sick burns, dude. Which I have no idea why 2 men are having a pillow fight in Dundee's world. But there you go. Then Dundee turns to Jenna Jameson with just one thing to say. And he says, "Hey, baby." Just like Butthead from Beavis and Butthead. And the crowd went nuts. Dundee then he says he'll fuck Jenna Jameson better than Gertner.
I like how they're treating her so classy, by the way.
Of course. Well, she's a porn star.
And they're treating her as, porn stars today, they're trying to be so respectable. We're actresses and
we're
models.
Empowered.
Yeah.
Get to choose our own hours, our own projects. We get to choose who we want to work with. That's not degradation. That's empowerment. And then when you watch the videos, they're licking his asshole. Like, what are you talking about? This is freeing. You got some 20-inch dong just making your gag reflex just go into overdrive.
Like slapping her.
Or they do the full Nelson thing where
Okay. Just caught me off guard there.
There's those positions where it's like they're more for torture than
pleasure.
Anyway, yeah. So yeah, the match starts. PG-13 hits an awful heart attack clothesline early in the match. Then we see a good old fashioned crisscross. Then Dundee slides out of the ring and lays one on Jenna Jameson. Bubba gets pissed at Jenna for Dundee kissing her. Meanwhile, the crowd shouts, "You the shit," at Dundee. Wolfie D hits Bubba Ray with a Frankensteiner, then gets his ass kicked by the Dudley boys. They do a great job of keeping him out of the corner. Then they have Wolfie D take Bubba Ray's arm and put it over Devon's shoulder. Devon's not paying attention. So Devon starts arm wrenching Bubba Ray without looking, even though Bubba Ray is like right behind Devon, centimeters away from his ear. No! Just Devon don't care.
Oh, it was loud in there.
Okay. So the Dudley boys start bickering on the apron. Meanwhile, in the ring, Big Dick Dudley hits PG-13 with a double choke slam. And then the Dudleys start stomping PG-13's asses. Dundee recovers, starts fighting, but then he gets tripped by Jenna. Dudley's then double team Dundee for a bit. Bubba gives him a free shot. Dundee kicks Bubba in the balls, which I thought was funny. And then he hits Devon with a DDT. PG-13 start running wild. Then Wolfie D tries to whip Devon in the ropes. It's reversed. Bubba slides in out of nowhere, delivers the 3D. That's the goddamn Dudley boys. That's my favorite part about the 3D, is Bubba just fucking sliding in out of nowhere.
Yeah, it comes out of nowhere.
Dudley's and Jenna Jameson leave. And then Dundee gets on the mic and he tells the Dudleys, you may have won the match, but your mom's still a hoe. Got him. What'd you think of PG-13?
I wasn't really into the match. I just didn't care about them.
That's fair.
There was one point where one of them spit on Jenna Jameson from inside the ring, and the crowd, I forgot exactly what they were saying, but essentially they were chanting, you liked it or something. It's like, man, women in ECW don't get treated very well.
They hate women, yeah. Get over here, cock sleeve. We have a Sandman update. We're in the Extreme helicopter, and the guy tells us that Sandman still hijacked the ambulance and is headed back to the arena. But we also learned that he stopped at a gas station for a carton of cigarettes and a cold beverage of some sort.
He wouldn't be drinking and driving, would he?
A helicopter guy then doubts whether or not Sandman can make it back by the end of the show. So we'll have to see. Well, if he's going to fucking stop for errands.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I got to go to Walmart real quick, too.
Then the lights cut out of the arena. Oh, God. Get used to that. The lights cut out of the arena. Then they cut back on. And Jerry the King Lawler is in the ring. And he says he has a few things to say, not to the stupid crowd, but to the people at home, who obviously have more money than brains. Lawler says if they want to see a real wrestling show, they should check out WWF Ground Zero. WWF has real stars like Bret Hart, Undertaker, and Stone Cold, not a bunch of dope-headed derelicts like you'll see in ECW. King then starts repeating the promo from earlier and calls Tommy Dreamer a ballless wonder and tells him to come get his ass whooping. So you have Jerry the King Lawler versus Tommy Dreamer. The Dreamer comes out, goes right after Lawler. Lawler runs, catches Dreamer coming into the ring. It doesn't last long, and Dreamer just beats the piss out of Lawler. In the ring, in the crowd. I don't know what the hell he had, but he was beating him with some sort of object. Lawler gets busted open early. Crowd hands things to Dreamer to use on Lawler as a weapon. They hand him a burger to shove down Lawler's throat. They call him Burger King. They head back to the ring. Lawler crotches Dreamer on the ropes, then throws him face first onto a steel chair. They go to the crowd again, but this time Lawler's kicking Dreamer's ass. Lawler whips and chokes Dreamer with a belt, hits a pile driver in the ring, but Dreamer's able to kick out. Lawler starts fucking up Dreamer some more while taunting the crowd. Then he rips Dreamer's shirt off and wipes his ass with it. It's an ECW shirt. Then he throws it in the crowd. Suddenly, Dreamer hulks up on Lawler, and then it's his turn to start doing the ass kicking. But then Lawler hits Dreamer in the balls with a double axe handle. His Dreamer just starts yelling at the ref. Like, he's so focused on kicking Lawler's ass that he's not worried about the ref. So then the ref tries to do his job. Then he starts jaw-jacking with the ref. Well, Lawler uses the distraction. He just axe handles Dreamer right in the balls. He starts repeatedly kneeing Dreamer's testicles. And it looks like Lawler's about to go for a DDT, but Dreamer rushes him and it inadvertently sandwiches the referee. The referee's like kind of bent over, and Lawler just decides to DDT the referee while he's collecting himself. And then Lawler tries to go after Dreamer's dick some more, tries to drag him to the steel ring post. Dreamer blocks it, but as he blocks it, the lights go out again. And the lights come back on, and Rick Rude destroys Dreamer with a trash can. And then Rick Rude leaves because surely his work is clearly done. However, when Lawler makes the cover, Dreamer kicks out, and Lawler stomped the ref. Suddenly, Dreamer gets Lawler in a pile driver position. Then the lights go out again. Lights come back on, and it's Jake the Snake Roberts. And he levels Dreamer. And then he hits Dreamer with a DDT. He says something about God. Like, your God is giveth and taketh, but my God only giveth because he doesn't have the balls to do anything else, or something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he said. Your God giveth and taketh. My God giveth, but doesn't have the balls to taketh.
But then he levels Lawler and leaves because surely his work is done. Lawler ends up landing on Dreamer. Looks like he's going to steal the win, but Dreamer manages to kick out.
Which I was surprised at with the way Dreamer sold the DDT. Well, with the way he sold the short arm clothesline, he was like convulsing on the ground. He oversold it if he was going to kick out. Let's just say that. He's holding his neck and he's shaking like this.
Yeah.
And then he gets DDT'd. It's like, well, surely that's the end if he sold that move like death.
He got the DDT.
Yeah, the DDT. Yeah.
There's some more back and forth. Dreamer sets Lawler up for his own DDT. Then the lights go out again. They come back on, and it's Sunny. So we have to be getting at the end of Lawler's henchman if we're at Sunny, right?
I'd say so.
So Sunny sprays Dreamer in the eyes with hairspray, I would assume. Then Beulah McGillicuddy hits the ring. They start cat fighting. And then Lawler just snatches Beulah off Sunny. He sets Beulah up for a pile driver. Dreamer recovers and goes after Lawler with a chair. Dreamer's about to hit Lawler, and just at the last second, Lawler hides behind Beulah. So then she mule kicks him right in the dick. Then Dreamer grabs Lawler's balls before hitting him with the DDT. And he wins. A lot of bullshit.
Yes, it was. And having the lights go out between each participant, even the crowd was like, bullshit.
Yeah, they were over it. And then you have all that shit happen and you lose the match.
That too.
It was nice seeing Lawler wrestle, though.
Yeah, we'll say wrestling-wise, yeah, you can just tell, like, he was a good wrestler, how he was, playing to the crowd, and he knew what he was doing.
It was really interesting, too, because Lawler was really scathing with the ECW stuff, and I remember growing up thinking, man, like, he really hates this shit. It seemed legit, but you could tell that they were working.
Yeah.
They were very professional. It was very interesting. Kind of lifts the curtain of my childhood a little bit.
Just tell you how good he was.
Absolutely. I remember the Kiss My Foot match with Brett. I remember like snippets of his feud with Jake when he was an alcoholic. I remember him pouring booze on Jake. And then Mark Henry, he had something with him.
Yeah. And then he had some kind of, there's like a babyface run he had towards kind of like the end where they tried to make you believe he was going to become champion one more time.
That may have been the best match of the night. Not that it's a high bar.
It could have been if they didn't have so much shenanigan.
Fair.
Or maybe if they didn't have the lights out, it would have saved it.
Well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe it was new back then.
Yeah.
So we have the shittiest music video that has ever been created to hype up the three-way dance. I thought Shane Douglas choked out Terry Funk's wife, and Terry Funk got mad, but I guess it was Sabu. They did the three-way sleeper hold thing.
Yeah. It was like, triple sleeper. So everybody won or lost. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we get another Sandman update. Sandman has finally arrived in the ambulance. And I think police officers tried to stop Sandman from entering the building, so he just beats the shit out of them with a Singapore cane. But fuck that. We have Shane Douglas versus Terry Funk versus Sabu. It's our three-way dance for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. The bell rings and Sabu and Douglas go at it while Funk just watches. Douglas notices this and then they just start beating up Funk. They fuck Funk up with a trash can and then Douglas suplexes Sabu onto him. Douglas and Sabu then work on Funk for a good long while and then Douglas decides to turn on Sabu. Sabu dives onto Douglas in the crowd, then hits Funk with a springboard moonsault to the floor. Funk and Douglas then do an assisted neck breaker onto a couple of chairs. Funk tries to run wild with a chair, but Douglas cuts him off. Sabu then takes out Douglas, then Funk hits Sabu with a pile driver. Then Douglas brings a segment of the guardrail in the ring. I don't think they ever did anything with that. I think he just brought it in the ring. I'm thinking about it. Funk and Sabu start double teaming Douglas before they start fighting. And Douglas recovers, goes berserk on both of them. And Sabu tries to do a springboard moonsault, but the chair just crumpled under his weight. And he ends up missing. He sets up a table, puts Douglas on it. Funk pulls Douglas off the table, so Sabu just nails Funk and replaces Douglas with Funk. Sabu then takes a chair. He stands it in the corner of the ring while Bill Alfonso starts wailing on Funk, who's laid out on the table, blowing the whistle. That's important. So again, imagine Sabu is on the top rope, the chair is on the top rope, and Sabu's intention is to stand on the chair, which is on the top rope.
Yes.
Then ECW Commissioner Todd Gordon runs and attacks Bill Alfonso for some reason. Douglas takes out Gordon and puts him on the table. And then instead of saving Gordon, Terry Funk grabs Bill Alfonso and puts him on the table beside Gordon. Meanwhile, Sabu's still climbing on the chair on the rope, and he
still
crashes.
trying to position this thing.
Yes. He does it, and he leg drops Gordon and Alfonso through the table. Sabu, Douglas, and Funk continue fighting while people clear out the table and the bodies. And then Sabu ends up grabbing a ladder, fucking shit up. And then he inexplicably knocks out the ref. And then Sandman comes out of nowhere and stomps a mud hole in Sabu's ass. Sandman poses. Yeah, he just stops to fucking pose. And then the police drag him out of the ring. Sabu dives on all of them while they're still ruckusing. And then they start brawling and they disappear. So now it's down to Funk and Douglas. Funk kicked out of the belly-to-belly suplex. Oh my God. It's the most devastating move in all of wrestling. Francine gets involved. She slaps Funk while Douglas holds his arms. And then Dory Funk Jr. shows up out of nowhere, kicks Douglas's ass, and leaves. Because surely his work is done. He leaves, and Funk and Douglas just continue fighting. Douglas tries to belly-to-belly suplex Funk through a table. It's blocked, but they end up going through the table anyway. And then Shane starts spamming belly-to-belly suplexes until he wins. The crowd chanted bullshit. So Francine and Douglas start beating Funk's ass some more after the match. Then Dudley boys show up, start beating Funk's ass. I guess the Dudleys want to join forces with Douglas, but Douglas is already in a team with Bam Bam Bigelow and somebody else. Who was the other one?
Chris Candido.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Chris Candido, Bam Bam, and Shane Douglas are already in a team. So I guess Douglas ends up saying no. There's a brawl. Dudleys end up fucking everybody up until New Jack comes out with the Eliminators. Like pretty much from the time New Jack comes out to almost to the end of the show, his music plays.
That's New Jack.
That's New Jack. So it's New Jack and Cronus at first. They make a go of it, but then they end up getting overcome by the numbers and Big Dick Dudley. But then Saturn's there, and he's just too much. So then everybody just takes turn beating the fuck out of the Dudleys. And Joel Gertner gets taken out with a chair and hit with a 450 splash. Good guys then run to the crowd and start shouting, ECW!
This was a really weird ending.
A little bit.
It just went on for a long time. Well, it was a long match because it was a title match. And then, yeah, once Sabu got eliminated, then it kind of just turned into a belly-to-belly kick-out match.
Pretty much.
And then, yeah, Cronus hitting all the top rope moves he was doing. Like, he just did a different top rope move for everybody.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of them. I like Saturn. I'm not a big fan of the Cronus guy.
I guess I don't know enough about him yet.
You don't need to. But yeah, that was Hardcore Heaven 1997. Next up is November to Remember 97. It's in Monica, Pennsylvania. The main event is Shane Douglas versus Bam Bam Bigelow for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. So I guess they don't stay friends for long. But before that, we have WCW's Bash at the Beach 1999. We're in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's our 6th Bash at the Beach. And we had 8 matches contested. The main event was Randy Savage and Psycho Sid versus Kevin Nash and Sting. This is a tag match for the WCW World Heavyweight title. You know, those classic matches where a tag match determines the World Heavyweight champion.
Yep.
Other notable matches, we have Van Hammer versus Rick Steiner for the WCW Television Championship. Dean Malenko versus David Flair for the United States Heavyweight Championship. The No Limit Soldiers, it's a team consisting of Conan, Rey Mysterio Jr., Big Swole, and Brad Armstrong, for some reason, versus West Texas Roughnecks. That's Mr. Perfect, Barry and Kendall Windham, and Bobby Duncombe Jr. And this is an elimination match. We also have the Junkyard Invitational. We'll let that speak for itself. And then the Jersey Triad, which is DDP, Chris Kanyon, and Bam Bam Bigelow versus Perry Saturn and Chris Benoit. This is a handicap match for the WCW tag team titles. They don't know how to do tag matches, do they? They got a tag match for the World Heavyweight Championship, and then they got a handicap match for the tag titles. It's all fucked up. And then we also have Buff Bagwell versus Roddy Piper in a boxing match. Our special guest referee is Mills Lane. Remember that classic boxing match that Roddy Piper had with Mr. T?
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and predict that this is not going to be anywhere close to that.
You'll be right about that.